What is going on, everybody? It is Lay the House, or I'm here, and I am sharing my daily fantasy and sports betting picks and plays for the Olympic basketball slate on Tuesday, July 30th, and Wednesday, July 31st. Underdog Fantasy and Prizepicks just released all of their lines for the basketball games, and there is so much value to be had. They made so many mistakes in these lines, and I'll be using the tools over on dgfantasy.com or Daily Grind Fantasy to show you guys what the best values on the board are for these games. Before I jump into these plays, though, I do want to remind you all to join the free Lay the House RM Discord server. It's where I post all of my plays every single day, and many other community members post all of their plays as well. It's a completely free community. I have a whole section in there on betting education, and it's just a really good place to be. It's the best sports betting Discord out there, and everything out there is free. So let's head over to Daily Grind Fantasy right now and take a look at the Underdog Fantasy Optimizer tool and see what they have on the board for us. So as we see here, there are a ton of lines that are green and have really high odds to hit, and that is just really good value on Underdog Fantasy right now. Just going down the list, I mean, Nikola Jokic under 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists on Underdog Fantasy. If you look at FanDuel, that number is 36.5. If we look at BetMGM, it is 34.5. So there's just a lot of value in this line. One of them is wrong, whether it's Underdog Fantasy or FanDuel or BetMGM. One of the three is wrong. However, if you want to take advantage of the value, it is on the under of 37.5 on Underdog Fantasy, simply because this number will probably move down to 36.5, maybe even lower, down into 35.5 by the time the game tips off on Wednesday morning. Going down the list too, we have some more plays for Wednesday that they just dropped. LeBron under 22 points and rebounds. I know he was on fire yesterday. He had a massive game, but it's going to lead to his lines being inflated. He had such an efficient game out there against Serbia, and he just played so well. The line is 22 on Underdog Fantasy. It's 21.5 on FanDuel and 20.5 on BetMGM. This line will probably settle around 21 come tip off on Wednesday afternoon, so it's a good way to take advantage of some value. Same situation with Drew Holiday under 12.5 points and rebounds. It's 11.5 on BetMGM. Maybe BetMGM needs to come up to 12.5 or to 12, and this line's actually fairly accurate. So this might be one that I might skip, but it is juiced heavy to the under on BetMGM. So there is some value to be had out there. Carrick Jones on South Sudan over 23.5 points and assists. Both these lines are juiced to the over to 23.5 on FanDuel and 24.5 on BetMGM. So it's a line mistake on Underdog Fantasy. This number should be 24, maybe 24.5. Jose Alvarado, same situation here. Let's find some plays for Tuesday. So Papa Nicolau on Greece, under 13.5 points and rebounds. It's 13.5 on FanDuel. Not juiced too far to the under. It's pretty much a pick 'em either way you choose. And then 11.5 on BetMGM. So BetMGM's either got to come up, or Underdog and FanDuel have to go down just a little bit. Kawamura on Japan under 16.5. That's a pretty solid line. It's juiced to the under pretty hard on BetMGM of minus 165, minus 120 on FanDuel. There is some good value to be had out there. So this, just scrolling on the list, the number one play that I'm seeing right now for Tuesday morning is this Willie Hernangomez under 6.5 rebounds. It's 6.5 on FanDuel, but it is minus 125, and same thing over on, looks like, Thrive Fantasy, but all the other major sportsbooks have it at 5.5, which means 6.5 is the wrong number. So if I'm making a play at Underdog Fantasy for basketball on Tuesday morning, I'm starting it with Willie Hernangomez, and I am starting it with under 6.5 rebounds. So there we are, under 6.5 rebounds here. I'm just going to make a play for Tuesday for you all so you guys can tail it, and then if you guys can take whatever you want from this information on Daily Grind Fantasy, or sign up for Daily Grind Fantasy yourself and use code LayTheHouseRM for 25% off your first month. This is a paid subscription tool, but obviously you get your money's worth, the more you use it and the more you learn how to use it, and it's an invaluable tool. It's just an investment. It will definitely help you out in the long run. So just looking through here, see if we can find some more plays for Tuesday. I'm probably going to go with the Santi Aldama here. Is a solid play, under 24.5 points and rebounds. It's wrong on BetMGM probably. It probably has to come up just a little bit. But if I'm making a play out of any of these that are out there right now, the Hernangomez is the best. Just trying to find one more play for Tuesday for you guys so we can get, a 3-pick entry for you out there. We could go with the Papa Nicolau. It's kind of a 50-50 shot. I don't love it too much, but it is a solid play. The Kawamura, however you say the name, under 6.5 points and assists. I'm going to go with that with Hernangomez. So Kawamura. And then we're going to head back to Daily Grind. I got to find one more play for Tuesday, or we can combine it with some plays Wednesday. Honestly, I could just throw the Jokic under 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists because that line is just, it's too high. It's not going to be there in another day or so. So I think I'm just going to add it. It's fine having a multiple plays in multiple days. So we'll go with that. We'll go with Hernan Gomez, lower than 6.5 rebounds, Kawamura, under 16.5 points and assists, and Jokic under 37.5 PRAs. So I'm going to place this entry. I will save the link and I'll post it in the Discord server for everybody else to tail. And let's recap too. We also had a nice win yesterday on the women's side of the basketball. Ionescu, Thomas, and Alexander all hit the under, so that'd be a nice win when it eventually pays out. There's our play, the Hernan Gomez, Kawamura, and Nikola Jokic. And now let's just go take a look at Prizepicks, see what they have out there for shits and giggles on the Olympic Fantasy. I probably will not be making a play for myself on Prizepicks just because there's never really a lot of value for me with the format that they have over there if you live in the state of Florida and their new arena format. But there is some good lines out there. So some of the top plays on Prizepicks for the Tuesday and Wednesday slate for basketball here. Kelly Olynyk over 6.5 points. Very solid value. It should probably be 7.5. But if you're making a 5-pick flex play on Prizepicks, Olynyk, Giddey here over 17 points, and George Condit the fourth under 9.5 points. Start with those 3 plays. Those are easily the best 3 plays on the board. It's 17.5 on all the other sports books, even 18.5 on some of the other ones. It's only 17 on Prizepicks for Giddey. That number should be 17.5 or higher. So you're getting some good value on all 3 of these plays. Wouldn't be shocked to see a Taco Tuesday play go along with some Olympic basketball games as well, and that's probably the only way I'll make a play on Prizepicks. Is the only way I get my bang for my buck in the arena format. But start a Prizepicks entry with these top 3 plays and find your 2 best to make it a 5-pick flex play. Just going down the list, seeing what other plays are out there. The under 8 rebounds and Anthony Davis is okay. Probably will go down to 7.5 at some point, but we're not there just yet. Drew Holiday under 16.5. I don't really like that one too much. You just have one line that's kind of skewing that, and that's what's showing on the results here. Anthony Edwards under 12.5. That's a solid play. It's juiced to the under on 2 of the other sports books. It's 11.5 on some of the other ones as well. Probably a solid play for you to make. So the under 12.5 points on Anthony Edwards is a pretty good play. And then looking at some overs, you could go with the Jokic over 20 points. Obviously, this goes against what I just said with the under 37 on the PRAs. But I'm not a person who's going to try to predict the stats. I just try to take advantage of the markets, and that's honestly the best way you have to play on Prizepicks and Underdog Fantasy and all these other daily fantasy websites. So if you want to go under 37.5 PRA on Jokic and Underdog and then over 20 points on Prizepicks, there's a chance that both those win. There's also a chance that both those lose, but it's more unlikely. You have a higher chance of both of those lines winning than both of those lines losing. So you could get a nice middle there by going with Jokic and then these top 3 here, and then finding one more for a flex play. You can really just go with any of these, like Schroeder, under 8 assists. That number should be 7.5. It probably will move to 7.5 before tip-off on Tuesday. There's just so much value out there to be had right now. And like I mentioned before, if you want to sign up with Daily Fantasy or Daily Grind Fantasy to give this a shot and see if you can find some value of your own, because it is likely that lines do move throughout the day and overnight, and then new value will arise. So sometimes when I make these videos, the lines that I have right here in the video are not there anymore because the markets need to adjust, and then new value pops up, and that's where these tools come really handy. So if you like these kind of videos and you want me to keep making more of these, remember to subscribe to the channel. Drop a like on the video. I'd really appreciate your support. I appreciate you guys sticking around to the end, and best of luck on your bets today, everybody.